Okay, time to make a big ol' awesome 2-inch brush, and we're gonna get into the bristle brush engine. You should be familiar with the process now. We're gonna find a pre-existing brush and use that as our template. So in the presets, let's go find bristle large. It appears here, mine's showing up here. If you don't have it, you can just clear any filters you have. Type in bristle, and I'm gonna start with bristle large. Let's go up to the brush engines. Now you can see bristle large is one of the few presets that we have that actually uses the bristle engine. Okay, let's see what gradient we have. Got nothing there. That's okay. Our foreground color and background color are white. Let's just pick sap green again for now, just as a temporary color, and see what this brush looks like. So I'm just going to take a look and see what the dynamics are like. What happens when I draw fast? Slow, fast. Just to get a feel for what's happening. Okay, this actually does have a rotation. I'm rotating my pen. We don't need that. And many of you aren't going to have this ability anyway. You can see that here. As I rotate my pen on my tablet, I get different directions. And as it is, we are not going to be making any cool trees with this thing. Okay, first let's change the shape. So the shape is a rectangle. It's kind of faded on the edges, and it is 31 pixels wide. What do we want? We probably want something more like an oval. So I'm going to change the shape to a circle. So we have an oval. And I'm going to change the ratio to about 0.25. We're going to change the size to 100. So that's going to be a 1-inch brush, but we can always increase it later. Okay, ooh. Looking all right. We need to turn off rotation, so the brush will just be horizontal. That's going to make it easier for us. So where's rotation happening? I see there's a little X here beside the rotation dynamic. So let's just turn that right off. All right. So the rotation's off, but it looks like it already has a few degrees rotation. I just want it flat. So I'm going to go up back to the brush tip, and we'll see, what do we have? No, we have 0. So I'm getting a slight rotation from somewhere, am I? Let's just hit down, yep. Let's take a look through the options. So we have our brush tip, we got about 100 pixels, ratio of 25. Everything else looks decent. Let's go to the bristle options here. We have a scale of 5. So that's one reason why this 1-inch brush is actually massive down here on our canvas. It looks much bigger than it is. And the scale has a huge effect on how these parameters affect the little bristles that appear. So let's change the scale to 1. Now our 1-inch brush should be the equivalent of 1 inch on our canvas. That looks better. Okay, so the bristles, now that we scaled it down to 1, the bristles are really dense. Let's reduce that. Let's go to the density here, and we're going to reduce it to, just to see what, show you what it's like. Let's reduce it to like 2. We're also going to zoom in. So I'm going to click out here and zoom in a bit. About, there we go. Now you can see that little dots, little bristles are being generated by this brush. And the number of bristles is related to this density. If I go to 100%, you're going to end up with a blob. 50%, you start seeing a few little holes. For this brush, I want 10%. Yeah, that's what I want. Ooh, you can see what's going on here, right? Another thing that's going on here is if we stroke down, you're going to notice that you start getting these streaks because the bristles all stay in the same spot, which is kind of cool, but we don't want too much of this. We don't want it to be too obvious. You know what? I'm actually going to zoom in more so we can even get a closer look about what's going on, almost at the pixel level. So let's take a look at this random offset value. If I turn the random offset off by typing 0, you'll notice that the bristles stay perfectly in line. We're zoomed in a lot, so we're down to the pixels here. And if I turn the random offset to a really high number, you'll see what happens. The pixels do all sorts of cool stuff. They rotate around, and as well, the hairs are being connected from one stroke to the next stroke, which is causing these lines to appear. Alright, so that probably sounds pretty confusing. The idea is that there are tons of settings here, and they're really cool. If I turn off connected hairs, check out what happens here. And if I turn on connected hairs, on, off. And the best way to do this, again, is just to play around with the settings. We don't really care what the settings are exactly. What we care about is what the brush looks like, and is it going to give us the effect we want. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave on connected hairs, and I'm going to set the random offset to 2. I'm just going to type in 2 and enter. 10% density looks good, and a scale of 1. And I think we've got a decent brush that we can use. Let's just check through some of the other settings. Under color, we have ink depletion. Ink depletion is kind of cool. So here I am drawing with it off. Let's turn it on. Here I am drawing with it on. See what happens? Our brush actually runs out of ink. That's really cool. You can imagine all sorts of effects you could have with that, especially to mimic the amount of paint on your brush. Do that again. So here's with it on. My brush slowly runs out of ink, and I can set the length and how much ink I have and all sorts of other settings. That's really cool. Okay, we're going to turn that off again so our brush does not run out of ink. Opacity. This brush has an interesting opacity curve. Again, that means how much pressure you have here and how transparent your brush stroke is. The size, the brush does not change size. It's always the same size regardless of the speed or the pressure or anything else. If I did turn it on, it looks like by default I'm adjusting the size based on the pressure. So I could have a small brush, and the more pressure I have, the brush gets bigger, and less pressure, more pressure. But we don't need that. Rotation, that's off again. I turned that off before it was being affected by the tilt of my pen. And painting mode, which we're not going to worry about, just more settings and cool stuff to play around with. So I still haven't figured out where that little rotation is coming from. I'm not sure if yours will do this. I probably got some setting doing something somewhere. It also seems to be rotating as I draw, slightly, as I pressure. Actually, you know what? It's rotating with my pressure very slightly. You know what I think that is? I think that's this shear setting here. Let's see, if I turn that up, what happens? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so shear, you can tell, is as I push down on the brush, it splays out and spins. It's kind of cool, a neat effect you kind of get on a real brush too. I don't want that though, so I'm going to turn shear to, I assume if I go negative it's going to spin the other way. Yeah, whoa, that's cool. You can see a little more here how the little bristles are connected from one to the other under our connect hairs. Let's play around with that. What happens if we turn that off? Yeah, there you can really tell the difference. Those are unconnected hairs. There's connected hairs. Again, more stuff to play around with. Let's turn this off. Shear, I'm going to select it. It's got a blue outline. Hit 0 and enter. Now I should have the brush I want. There we go. And did I leave a rotation on there? Turn that off. And I got my flat brush. Problem solved. Here's our brush. I'm going to save this one. I'm going to call it, what should we call it? We're going to call it BR Tree 2. This is the better tree brush. And before I save it, I want to get a good icon. That's a great icon. That's exactly kind of what this brush we're imitating for. So let's just save it like this. Save to presets. I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to add it to our Bob Ross tag. Did it show up somewhere? No, let's do a search here for BR, and hopefully we get our, there's our BRT Tree 2. Right click it, assign a tag Bob Ross, and we should, now we have it. There it is right there. Tree brush. Only thing left to do is paint a tree. Okay, let's hit 3 on the number pad here to fit the width of our canvas. I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. There's going to be some pretty big trees, and we're going to draw them way up here coming down. These are going to be huge trees. There we go. Okay. Now to start, let's create a little hint of a trunk here going up and down. We can use one of our brushes here. Let's just use the snow brush, and I'm just going to do a temporary change to it in the brush engine. We'll go to the brush tip, and I just want to change it so it's vertical instead of horizontal. Let's go 90. There we go. Get a brush tip. 90. Easier to type it in. There we go. Got a brush tip. And remember, when you make these temporary changes, next time I pick that brush, it'll go back to all the default settings. That's how I've been using the brushes in this series. However, sometimes you might want to make some changes to it, keep it, try it out a bit, make some other changes, and you don't want it to keep reverting back to those settings that you saved. And we can actually change something here in the brush engine. There are some options down here, and one of them is temporarily save tweaks to presets. So now, if I change this brush to 90 degrees, I have a 90-degree brush, you can see here. But if I go back and switch away to some other brushes, it maintains those changes. It's still 90 degrees. When I restart Krita, however, they'll go back to the saved settings, hence temporarily save tweaks to presets. But I don't want that. I just want my 90-degree brush. Got a brush, we need a color. We're going to pick one of our dark greens if we have one. Let's just, in my color history here, I'm going to choose one of these really dark greens. And if you don't have it, again, you can take some of your mountain mixture, mix a tiny bit of sap green, experiment with some of the colors using the digital color mixer. I have the color I want now, though. You know what? I even want this darker. So I'm going to take this color and I'm going to mix some more of that mountain mixture into it. There we go. And you can see what it's going to look like there when I'm done. Let's go. Let's mix in about 75% more mountain mixture. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Okay. New layer. Let's add big evergreens. And we're just going to add a slight hint there, and we'll add another one over here. Just at the top, there we go. Let's go back to that tree brush we made, and here we're going to follow a similar technique where we start with a small brush at the top, and we're going to slowly increase the size of the brush using the right square bracket. So with the left square bracket, let's reduce the size of the brush really small at the top, and we're going to this time, whew, that's dark. Okay, let's undo that. We're going to really gently, now this time we can actually have a little bit of downward stroke because we have this new bristle brush. So it's not going to create that same weird splotchy effect with that simple pixel brush we created. Now we can kind of go back and forth and create a much better effect. So I've increased the brush size. I'm kind of going back and forth in a zigzag pattern to get that actual distinct branch look that Bobby pulls off. This is a really dark color. You might want to go back and lighten that up later. We don't want to do too many streaks because we don't want to get something like that. So we're just trying to do short little bursts there. Now Bobby has this down much better than I do, and the way he goes back and forth with his branches is pretty impressive. You can see we got the start of it here. You can also consider some other changes, like as I'm drawing with this brush, I'm thinking, well, you know what, it would be nicer if it actually was maybe a bit more random, or the pressure dynamics were a little bit different, like it was much more faded or pale. But that's not bad. I have to say that looks like a much better tree than this one does. And if I can figure out the proper spacing for these branches, it'll look even better. Let's do the other one. We're just going to do, again, I can zoom in a little more here. We'll get a better idea. And this creates some... Yeah, Bobby knows what he's doing when he's drawing trees, that's for sure. His look really cool. These don't look that bad either. This is a really dark color. Might want to go back up and lighten this up a bit with a filter, adjustment filter, colors, brightness, contrast curve. We could also reduce the opacity. Now it's not going to matter much what's happening down here because we're going to be doing some big deciduous trees. Yeah, really small here. Get some little brushes. Cool. Okay, we got some half-decent trees here. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you back for the next show.